There are many history buffs in this group. Steve Pruskin is not one of them, but he's going to pretend to be for 7 minutes. He's speaking of the events of the year in 1754. Let's welcome Steve Pruskin.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you, Betty. Yes, 1754. The powers of Europe were not on best terms with one another, but they were not at war. But they were flexing their muscles through their colonies. Now, this, believe it or not, represents the eastern portion of North America. The British had their colonies along the coast, most notably for today's talk, Virginia. Spain controlled Florida, and the French had their control of their forces up in Quebec. Folks in the French were looking to move in this direction and maybe play some games, go down along the side of the mountains, establish themselves around Pittsburgh, and possibly intrude into the area controlled by the British. The British didn't want that to happen. So they sent word to the governor of Virginia to keep an eye on what's going on up here. He decided to put together a militia, and he went looking for someone to lead the militia. And he found a farmer who seemed to be appropriate for the job. Let's see, what are my criteria? I need someone who's going to be brave and bold, not necessarily all that bright, but ready to go out there and do stuff. And most important of all, I want somebody who's got enough money to finance a militia, because we certainly aren't going to do it. And they found a farmer, and they assigned him this chore, and he put a militia together, took them up into the woods of what is now Maryland, up there where there's a pass, a key pass leading over to where the French were. And one of the things he wanted to do was reinforce this pass so the French forces couldn't come in. He had his militia that he had paid for and brought along, and he hired some Indians to help them out. And they knew the area better than he did. And they had a sense of what was going on over here, and the Indians that were working for him were not overly fond of the French either. And his Indian scouts, one day, as they were setting up and trying to reinforce this pass, got word to him that there's a little French patrol over here. They don't know that we're here. Why don't we see if we can take advantage of that? Now, France and Britain were not at war at this time. They were just not very friendly with one another. But our farmer, with more guts than brains, went off to that French patrol, surrounded them, came in at night, and basically killed most of them. A couple got away. And the ones that got away stood back to the main French force and told them what was going on. Now, our farmer figured, I may have something to worry about here, so he went back to the pass and reinforced his position, built, what he thought were strong enough defenses so that if the French approached, he could deal with them. Well, we're talking about the real French army that came along, and they made quick work of those defenses and went in there and took the farmer and his men prisoner. The French leader went up to the farmer and said, "Well, I'm tempted to kill you, but I think it would be better to do it this way. I need you to sign this paper admitting that you attacked us without provocation on behalf of the British government, and in addition, to promise that you will never fight France again." And the guy had no choice. It was either that or... So he signed the paper and went back to Virginia. with the paper in his hand. Everybody heard what he had done, and he was embarrassed and had to go back to his farm because nobody wants to, there's not much pride left when you've been humiliated that way. And he tried to talk his way around it at first, but there was this paper that said, I did this, we attacked without provocation. And the governor was not thrilled with this, so he went back to his farm and went back to his militia, pretty much dispersed, and he did his farming, and most likely, I don't know if he died of humiliation or what, because I'm sure that's the last time that anybody has ever heard of that George Washington.